In our Parsha, we learn about Yaakov and his wives, the sisters Rachel and Leah. And there was an incredible amount of tension that existed between these two sisters. Although they were incredibly close, and according to one opinion in the Midrash, were even identical twins, nevertheless, they were both vying for the attention and the love of Yaakov. And Yaakov made it very clear that his beloved was Rachel. But Hashem did something strange. Because he saw that Leah was snua, that she was hated, that she wasn't as beloved as Rachel, he granted her children, and he withheld children from Rachel. And so it was that Leah was having child after child after child, and this was causing incredible distress to Rachel. And the Torah tells us, "Vatekaneh Rachel ba'achota." She was jealous, naturally. She was jealous of her sister. But what was this jealousy? And Rashi here gives us a very, very important insight. It says that Rachel looked upon Leah and thought to herself as follows: Leah is clearly more righteous than I am. That must be the reason. That's why she is having so many children. I cannot be as righteous. If I was as righteous as her, I too would have children. It wasn't a petty type of an envy or jealousy, but it was a realization that Leah was perhaps a more righteous person. And this, in fact, egged Rachel on to become a more righteous person. And so the Talmud tells us something very interesting, that kinah, that jealousy and envy of others is one of the worst characteristics it can have. It can eat you up. As the words say in Pirkei Avot, motzim et ha'adam min ha'olam, it drives a person out of this world. If you always want what other people have, that is a terrible thing. But there is a type of jealousy that is good and that is appropriate. And that is where you see other people have success in spiritual levels. And you say to yourself, I want that success. But of course, the only way to achieve that success is through hard work, is through study, is through good deeds. And therefore, this eggs you on to be better. This is what Rachel saw in Leah. Leah must be better. I want to be better. That's what the jealousy, as it were, drove her to. And the Talmud gives us a very, very good illustration of this. It speaks about the laws of competition. So, for example, you have a business in a little town or a little suburb. Let's say perhaps there's a bakery. And the next day, somebody comes in the same little area, and they set up a bakery a few doors down. There's a whole discussion in the Talmud. Is that allowed? Is he allowed to do that? What about competition? There's only enough space for one bakery in this particular neighborhood. There's an entire discussion about that. But there is one institution where there is absolutely no laws of competition, and that's when it comes to Jewish schools. If there is an existing cheder, a Jewish school for little children in a suburb, and a rabbi arrives and sets up a new Jewish school, it's completely fine. We leave it. We don't say, hey, you're being competitive, you're trying to close in on this person's turf. No, we leave it. Why? And says the Talmud an incredible phrase, Kinat sofrim tarbe chochma. Because jealousy and envy amongst the sages, amongst the learned, increases wisdom. What does this mean? So now you've got two Jewish schools in the same suburb. Well, they've got to keep up with one another. They've got to compete. The one is teaching the kids Chumash and going at this pace, and the other isn't. And he says to himself, I want the market share. I want to make sure that I've got more kids in my school. The only way I'm going to do that is if we improve the syllabus. So by improving the syllabus and making the standards better, that will mean that there is more for the children on offer. Something good is going to come out of it. The competition is in fact very, very positive. Yes, in life we see competition as being something that is threatening. But here within the realms of Jewish education, if I know that there's another school and I've got to compete with that school, I've got to raise my standards. And when I raise my standards, it means that the children or the people in the yeshiva are going to benefit. This is the one type of jealousy which our sages said is perfectly okay. To be jealous of the fact that a person is beautiful, is handsome, is rich, has got this talent, that's pointless because that's not going to happen to you. That's impossible. But to see a person who's worked on himself or herself and become a better person through good deeds and learning, and to be jealous of their spiritual pursuits is perfectly okay, because in order to achieve those, you yourself have to be egged on to become a better person. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.